I'm Anita. Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be making a pair of earrings, and they're called Jacobean Blossoms earrings. This is a design by a lady named Cynthia Newcomer Daniel. Her book is titled Modern Beaded Lace. These earrings were inspired by classic needle lace. They're made with a shaped and embellished modified right angle weave coordinate in a teardrop shape, which is filled with a flower bud figure. Once you learn how to make the straight and curved sections of the coordinate, you'll be able to make a multitude of shapes. So very easy to make. You can follow along with me, grab your beads. They're all Miyuki seed beads. If you change the size of the flower, it can fill any size of space. So you can apply this technique to any project that you might want to try this on. Very cool design. Here's a quick glimpse of what we're going to learn how to make today. So the little flower is inside the coordinate shape. I'm using 11-0 seed beads in Miyuki. These are kind of a bronze color. I also have 11-0 in galvanized gold, and then I have a few 8-0s in a bronze color, and then I have some 15-0s in a bronze color, and another palette of 15-0s, and these are like a purple iris color for the flower. And then I have just a solid purple for the flower tips. So you can mix and match the design, try different stuff. I've been experimenting. I made a pair in black, I'll show you these, with the green iris for the flower and green for the tips. So try different color palettes. You'll come up with some pretty interesting designs. I'm using 6-pound fireline and a couple of ear wire hooks. Now for the length of fireline, for each earring you're going to use about 1 yard, and then you're going to need a second piece, probably about 30 inches or so, to do the flower, because it's done in 2 steps. All right, I'll have links in the description box below. If you click on those 3 dots in that little box below, it'll expand the window and it'll give you all the details and the materials, where you can find these, a link for the book, and all kinds of information. Also, I sell my own jewelry on my website, and there'll be a link to that in the description box also. And you might want to check it out, because I do run periodic sales throughout the year with some really great deals. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to begin by making the coordinate frame. So to do that, you're going to start with stringing a color A, color B, and you're going to do that 2 times. So I've got a bronze 11-0, and then 1 in gold, another bronze 11-0, and then 1 in gold, like that. So you're going to bring that down. You're going to leave about a 6-inch tail. So we're just going to weave that in. So now I'm going to go back through the first bead on my needle, like that. You're going to pull that so that you have a little diamond shape like that. So I'm going to bring my needle back through all 4 beads to reinforce that. So we're going to go through the gold bead, the bronze bead, the gold bead, like that. Just going all the way around until we're exiting the bronze bead where we started. So that's what you should have so far. So now we're going to start doing the right angle weave. So this is modified right angle weave. Our next step is going to be to pick up 2 of our 11-0s in bronze, 1 in gold, and then 1 in bronze, like that. Our thread is exiting this bronze bead right here. Bring your needle through the gold bead, like that. So when you pull your thread, you want to pull this nice and snug, and we're going to cross our thread over this first bronze bead, and we're going to bring our needle through this next second bronze bead right here, like that. We're going to repeat that 6 times. Pick up 2 bronze beads, 11 O's, pick up a gold, and then pick up a bronze, like that. I'm exiting this 11 O in bronze. I'm going to bring my needle through the gold bead, like that. I'm going to skip this bronze bead and go into the next one. So I'm bringing my thread, crossing over that, bring my needle through the bronze bead right before the gold, and pull. Do that again. Pick up 2 bronze, 1 gold, and 1 bronze. Bring my needle through the gold bead like that. You want to skip this bronze bead next in line and bring your needle through this second bronze bead. And pull that nice and snug. So it's going to look like this. You've got your beads all together here, and then this side will have gaps like that. So we'll do that one more time. Picking up 2 bronze, 1 gold, and 1 bronze. Exiting this bronze 11O, going in through the gold. You're going to skip this next bronze bead, and we're going to bring our needle through the second one right there. And you're going to do that 3 more times. Now I'm going to move these beads out of the view of the camera so that maybe it'll focus a little more consistently. So go ahead and do this 3 more times, and then I'll meet you back. All right, I'm coming down to my last modified right angle weave. I've got my 2 bronze, my gold, and my bronze coming up through this gold bead, crossing over that first bronze and going under the second one like that. So that's what you should have so far. All right, for our next step, with our thread exiting this bronze 11O, we're now going to pick up an 8O in bronze. So I've got an 8O, I'm going to pick up an 11O in bronze, then the gold 11O, and then a bronze 11O. So I've got an 8O, bronze, 11O, bronze, gold 11O, and a bronze 11O. And we're still doing modified right angle weave, so it's just a bigger bead. So we're going to go up through our gold bead like we've been doing, pull that nice and snug. I'm skipping the 8O and I'm going to go in through the second bronze, which is the 11O bead right there. Now we're going to go back to doing 3 more modified right angle weaves using just 11Os. So we've got 2 bronze, 1 gold, and 1 bronze. Going up through the gold bead like we've been doing. Pull that snug. You're going to skip that first bronze bead, and then we're going to go through the second one. Right there. Pull that nice and snug. We're going to do that 2 more times. Pick up 2 bronze, 1 gold, and 1 bronze. Going up through the gold bead, skipping the first bronze, going in through the second. And then we're going to pick up 2 more bronze beads, a gold bead, and a bronze bead. going up through the gold bead, skipping the first bronze bead, and then going into the next one. So that's what you should have so far. Okay, we're going on to our next step. So now that we did our 8-0 here, and then we did 3 more sets of the right angle weave, the modified right angle weave. So now we're going to do the next unit using the 8-0. So you're picking up an 8-0 in bronze and 11-0 in bronze, and then a gold 11-0, and then one more 11-0 in bronze. And we're going to go through the gold bead, skip that 8-0, and go in through the bronze 11-0 like that. So now that we've added that unit, we're going to do 3 more units of modified right angle weave using 2 11-0s in bronze, an 11-0 in gold, and an 11-0 in bronze. We're going to do that 3 more times, and then we're going to do the 8-0. We'll do that a total of 3 more times until we have 5 of our 8-0 units spaced out with 3 modified right angle weaves in between, like this. Okay, so we're going to, from here, we're going to do 3 modified right angle weaves. So you're picking up 2 11-0s in bronze, 1 in gold, 1 in bronze. Exiting this 11-0, going up through the gold bead, skipping that first bronze, going in through the second one. Pick up 2 more 11-0s in bronze, 1 in gold, 1 in bronze. Exiting here, going through the gold bead, skipping the first bronze bead, then going in through the second one. I'm going to do that 1 more time. 2 11-0s in bronze, 1 in gold, 1 in bronze. Coming up through, pull that snug, skip the first bronze bead, and let me back this out because I don't think it went through correctly. There we go, my thread got tangled. If that happens, just back it out and reroute your thread. All right, so now we're skipping that first bronze bead and going in through the second one. So that's my 3 units right there. Now I'm going to do the 8-0 and 11-0, 11-0 in gold, and 11-0 in bronze. So we're going to do that just like we did here. Go up through the gold bead, skip the 8-0 in bronze, and go through the next 11-0 bronze, like that. So from here, you're going to do 3 more units of modified right angle weave with the 11-0s. Then you're going to do an 8-0 modified right angle weave. Then you're going to do 3 more, and then you're going to do 3 more with just the 11-0s. Then you're going to do another 8-0 modified right angle weave, and then I'll meet you back for the next step. So go ahead and continue that pattern. If you need to rewind the video, please do so. Okay, I'm coming down to my last 8-0 modified right angle weave. So I've got my 8-0 in bronze, 11-0, the gold, and the bronze and 11-0s. Coming up through here, crossing, passing, skipping that 8-0, going in through the 11-0 in bronze. So that's what you should have so far. And you notice the spacing on these. You've got 3 units of modified right angle weave in between each set. So now from here, you're going to go back to doing modified right angle weave like we did here, using 2 11-0s in bronze, 1 in gold, and 1 in bronze. You're going to do that a total of 7 times, going this direction. So I'll do the first one with you, picking up 2 11-0s in bronze, the gold, and the bronze. Going up through the gold, skipping that first bronze, then you're going to bring your needle through the second one and pull. So your thread is coming out of the 11-0 like that. You're going to continue doing this same step 6 more times, and then I'll meet you when we get to the end. Alright, I'm coming down to my last modified right angle weave. I've got my 2 bronze and 11-0s, a gold, and a bronze. Exiting this 11-0, coming up through the gold, skipping that next bronze and going in through the second one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reinforce this end. I'm going to go back through this gold bead, come down through the bronze bead, through the gold bead, through the bronze bead, now back through the gold and the bronze bead. I want my thread coming out of this 11-0 facing down towards where all of the 11-0s have gaps. So from here we're going to pick up an 11-0 in bronze, exiting here, going in through our next 11-0 in bronze. So we're just doing a peyote stitch here. That's going to fill that gap. So we're going to do that again, pick up another 11-0 in bronze, go through the next 11-0. So we're going to continue that until we get to the 11-0 right before the 8-0. So you're going to stop right here. So continue adding an 11-0 in between each bronze, 2 bronze, and when you get to this last one, we're going to stop, and then I'll meet you back. All right, I'm coming down to my last segment where I'm going to do a 11-0. I've got an 11-0 bronze coming out here, exiting, and going through this next bronze bead. So that's where I want to stop, right there. Notice that I have the next one is the gap right underneath where the 8-0 bead is. So right here, starting from this section until we get to the gap on this last 8-0 here, you're going to be putting 15-0 bronze beads in between each 11-0. And that's going to make it curve a little bit. So pick up a 15-0 in bronze, exiting this 11-0, going in through the next 11-0. So your 15-0 should be going in the first gap underneath the 8-0 bead. So we're going to do that again. Pick up a 15-0, go through the next 11-0. Pick up a 15-0 in bronze, go through the next 11-0. Right there. And continue until you get to the last 8-0 in our pattern, and then we'll go on to the next step. All right, this is what I have so far. I've got a couple more to go, so I'm picking up my 15-0 in bronze, exiting this 11-0, going in through the next one. Now this is my last 8-0 with the gap, and I'm putting my last 15-0 in bronze right here. And now we're going to go back to the 11-ohs and place those in the gaps till you get to the very end. So pick up an 11-oh, exiting here, going into the next one. And repeat that step all the way to the end. All right, I'm coming down to my last gap here. I've got my 11-oh, exiting here, going into the last 11-oh on my unit. So from here, we're going to set our needle down, and you want to thread your tail thread on another needle, and we're going to go ahead and weave that in and get that out of the way. So I'm just going to take my needle, it's exiting out of this 11-oh here. I'm just going to advance through my gold bead, coming down through a few 11-ohs here. Doesn't matter how many. I'm going to do a half hitch knot right here. And to do that, you're going to bring your needle underneath a thread bridge like that till you form a loop. Bring your needle back through and pull. You want that knot to fall in between your work. And that didn't go as planned. So I'm just going to advance my thread through a few beads to hide those threads. And I'm going to go ahead and clip my thread right here. Should be fine. We've gone through the other end of this quite a number of times when we first started it, so it should be pretty secure. So I'm going to cut my tail thread off just to get it out of the way. And this is where we left off. Starting to take shape. Very pretty. And then we'll be going on to the next step. All right, for our next step, our working thread is exiting this 11-oh right here on the inside of our curve. We're going to take our needle and we're going to bring it through this bronze 11-oh on this side here to join these two ends together. Now I'm going to bring my needle through the gold bead right there. Now we're going to go through this last bronze bead and then through these two gold beads at the end right there. So there is your coordinate shape. All right, for our next step, with our thread exiting the gold 11-oh, we're going to pick up 6 of our bronze 15-ohs like that. We're exiting this side of the 2 gold beads. I'm going to bring my needle back through the other side and go back through both of these gold beads right here like that. And that's going to make a little loop to be able to attach our earring hook to. So I'm going to reinforce that by going all the way around and back through. All right, so we're exiting these 2 gold beads here. Now I'm going to advance my thread through these next 2 bronze bead 11-ohs right there. All right, for our next step, we're going to start embellishing our coordinate shape. So our thread is coming out of these 2 bronze 11-ohs. We're picking up an 11-oh in gold. And I'm going to go in through the bronze bead that's directly across where my thread is coming out of, right here. Pull that, and that's going to sit that 11-0 right on top. So now I'm going to pick up another 11-0 in gold, and I'm going to go back through this 11-0 where I started. Pull. And you want that to sit right on top and next to the other one that you started. So with our thread exiting this 11-0 where we started, we're going to advance through the next two 11-0s in bronze. And it's kind of hard to see because the gold 11-0s you're sitting on top are blending with the ones that are already there, but that's just to give it a three-dimensional look. So we're going to continue now, pick up another 11-0 in gold. My thread is exiting this 11-0 here. I want to go up through the 11-0 directly across. Now I'm going to go through the 11-0 that I added previously. Now I'm going to bring my needle down through the 11-0 where I started, and then through the next two 11-0s after that. Right there. Pick up another 11-0 in gold, exiting this 11-0. I'm going to go in through the bead that's directly across. I'm going to go through the previous 11-0 in gold that I added. Now I'm going to come down through the 11-0 in bronze where I started, and then through the next two. Right there. And that's stacking them right on top. Do that again, pick up an 11-0 in gold, exiting this 11-0, going in through the one directly across, like that. Bring your needle through the gold 11-0 before that you did previously. And now bring your needle through the 11-0 where you started in bronze, and then the next two after that. And I got too many. So there's the three. So you're doing it where you started and the next two after. And we're going to continue doing that. So as you're going through and you're coming back through the bead directly across, in some cases it's going to be an 11-0 or it might be a 15-0. So you're just going to continue doing the pattern. So I'll do a few more with you here, coming out of this 11-0, going into this 11-0 directly across. Going back through the last gold you did, and then through the 11-0 in bronze where you started, and the next two. So if you can't see where the next two are, you can go through the one, do it in two steps, just to make sure you're not going through too many beads, otherwise you'll have a gap. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing this until I get down here, and then I'll send you on your way. So I'm picking up a gold, exiting this 11-0, going in through this bead directly across, Going back through the last gold that I added, going down through the bronze bead where I started, and it's tricky getting in here because it's kind of snug. So now I'm going through the next 2 beads right there. Do that one more time. Got an 11-0 in gold exiting here, going in through this 11-0 directly across. So now I'm going to go through the last gold I added, going through the 11-0 where I started, which is this bead here, and then I'm going to go through the next 2, which is the 8-0 and the 11-0 is the next 2. So now I'm going to repeat that pattern, pick up an 11-0 in gold, going in through the 11-0 directly across, or 15-0, whatever it is. Now I'm going to go back through the last gold bead, go through the 11-0 where I started, and then the next 2 beads. And you're going to continue that step all the way around. So continue adding your gold bead, going into the 11-0 directly across, advance your needle through the last gold bead, then come down where you started plus 2 beads. And continue, and I'll meet you when we get to the very end. All right, I'm coming near the end here, so I figured I'd finish this up with you. I've got a gold 11-0 exiting this 11-0, going directly across, coming up through there, pulling my thread. Now I'm going to bring my needle through the 11-0 above on the previous step. Now I'm going to come down through the 11-0 where I started and the next 2. Do that again, coming through this one on the previous, coming through where I started and the next 2, and I've got one more to add. 1 gold, coming through the 11-0 directly across, going through the previous gold, now through the 11-0 where I started and through the last 11-0. And that completes embellishing the coordinate. So that gives it a little bit of a stiffer feel because it was a little flimsy before we added this step. So that's to kind of stiffen it up and make it look pretty. So from here, we're just going to advance this thread through a few beads. I think I'm going to come through these 2 gold, in the middle here. It doesn't matter which way you choose to end your thread. We're just going to advance through. I'll tie a half hitch knot right here, come under a thread bridge, form a loop, bring your needle back through and pull. Now I'm just going to advance through the outer edge here through a few beads. And I'm going to clip this thread off right here. So that completes the coordinate, and what we're going to do now is we're going to embellish the inside with our little flower. So you're going to want to thread a new needle with about, I'd say 30 inches of thread, and we'll start that next process. All right, so once you have your new thread cut and your needle on, you're going to want to pick up the 50 nose in bronze, and you're going to pick up a total of 9. So there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 50 nose in bronze. So I want to bring that down, and I want to leave it about a 6-inch tail to weave in. So from here, I'm going to go back through my first bead, pull that into a circle, and I'm going to go ahead and reinforce this and go back through all the beads until I'm exiting where I started, just to reinforce. All right, got that reinforced, and then we'll weave that tail in later. All right, with our thread exiting this 50 here, just ignore your tail thread. I'm going to pick up a 11/0 in gold, and I'm going to go back through the bead where I started through the opposite direction. Like that. So my thread is exiting the 50/0. Now I want to bring my needle through the 11/0 in gold to step that up. So that's what you should have so far. All right, for our next step, we're going to pick up a 50/0 in bronze and an 11/0 in gold, like that. We're exiting this gold bead. We're going to bring our needle in through the next 50/0 in our circle, right there. If you could see that. I'm going to move this out of the way for now. There, get my camera to focus better. So we're coming in through that next 50/0 like that. And I'm skipping that 50/0 in bronze, and I'm going to bring my needle through the gold bead. So we're going to do that again. Pick up a 50/0 in bronze and an 11/0 in gold. I'm exiting the gold bead. I'm going to go through the next 50/0 in line, which is this one right here. Now I want to skip that bronze and bring my needle through the gold bead. I'm going to do that 2 more times. Pick up a 50/0 in bronze, 11/0 in gold, going through the next 50/0, skipping the bronze bead. Now I'm going to go through the gold bead. And we're going to do that 1 more time. Pick up a 50/0 in bronze and 11/0 in gold, going through the next 50/0 in bronze, going through this last gold bead. So you're doing that a total of till you have 5 gold and 4 50/0 in bronze. You're just doing a half circle here, like that. So that's what it should look like. So these last 5 steps we did, that's called modified square stitch. So now we'll be going on to add our next step. All right, with our thread exiting this gold bead where we left off, we're picking up now 15 of our 15 O's in bronze. Then we're also going to pick up 1 11-0 in bronze. And we're going to connect this to our coordinate. So go ahead and grab your coordinate unit, and we want to add that. It might be easier if you flip it, because you want to be able to access these top 2 beads in bronze. So we're going to bring our needle through. If you can't do it through both at the same time, just do one at a time. So I'm coming through one of those top 2 15 O's or 11 O's in bronze. Now I'm going to go through the other one like that. Now I'm going to bring my needle down through the 11-0 on the stem, and then the next 10 beads. So there's 5. I'll do that 2 steps. Just pull that snug, and then I'll go through the next 5 15 O's. So that's what you should have. So your stem is going through these top 2 11 O's here at the top. You've got your 11-0 that you're going back through in the stem, and then 10 15 O's, and you're coming out right here. So now we're going to pick up 5 more 15 O's in bronze. My thread is coming out of 2/3 down way on the stem. So now I'm going to bring my needle through this last gold bead on the right hand side. Right there. All right, so we're going to pause here for a moment, and I'm going to thread this tail thread on a needle, and we're going to get that out of the way. So let's go ahead and do that. Take your tail thread, thread it on another needle, and it's coming out of this circle here. Let's see where it is. Let's move this out of the way so I can see where it's coming through. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to weave this through wherever your thread's coming out. Just try to weave it through a few beads and have it coming out of your stem. So I'm just going to advance through a couple of beads here and come through these 2 here, or if you can do one at a time. And this is why we use a size 12 beading needle, because it's pretty tight here. So I'm just going to come through these 2 beads here. Now I'm just going to advance through this gold bead and up through the stem. So I'm just going to advance this up through the stem, and I'm just going to cut this thread off just to get it out of the way. All right, so let's clip this little guy off. And now we can go back to working on our stem. All right, so our working thread, we just added these last 5 15 O's in gold. Our thread's coming out here. We're going to start working on our first petal. So to make your petal, our first one, our thread's coming out of this gold bead, you're going to pick up 3 of your 15 O's in the purple iris and 1 of your purple beads, like this. So I've got 3 purple iris, 15 O's, and 11 O in purple. So from here, I'm going to bring my needle through the 11-0 that's directly across the 8-0 segment. So actually, it's the 15-0 we're going to go through. So there's a 15-0 here in between. I don't know if you can see it. I want to bring my first petal through right where that 8-0 is, so we're going to go through the 15-0 that's directly across that 8-0. Pull that through. Just pull that snug. It's going to be a little wonky until we get all the petals done. It's fine. So we're coming through that 15-0. We're going to go back through just the purple bead, the 11-0. So bring your needle back through the 11-0 in purple like that. Pull. Now we're going to pick up 3 more of our 15-0s in purple iris. And we're going to come down through the gold bead on the opposite side of where we started. And there's your first flower petal. Now we're going to advance through the next 2 beads. You're going through the 15-0 and the 11-0 in gold. Now we're going to pick up 5 of our 15-0s in purple iris and 1 11-0 in purple, like that. So we want to find our next 8-0 bead, look for the 15-0 that's on the inside, and that's where you want your needle to go through, right there. Pull that snug. Now you want to bring your needle back through the 11-0 in purple. Pick up 5 15-0s in purple iris and 1 11-0 in purple. With your thread coming out of the purple bead, you're going to go back through the gold bead where you started on the opposite side. And there's your second petal coming together. Now we're going to advance through the next 2 beads. Now we're going to pick up 7 of our 15-0s in purple iris and an 11-0 in purple, like that. So our thread is exiting this gold 11-0. As you can guess, we're looking for the 8-0, and you want to go into the bead directly across, which is one of those 15-0s. And it's kind of buried in there, so you might have to kind of manipulate your work a little bit to get your needle to go through. It's pretty tight, so that's where we want to be, right there. Now we're going to go back through the purple 11-0. Pick up 7 of your purple iris and 1 11-0 in purple. Exiting here, going in through the gold bead where you started on the opposite side. And I messed up, so let's back up. Got an extra purple bead there I don't need. Take that off. So the first half of the petal you need the purple bead. The second half you just need the second half of your 15-0. So I messed up, sorry about that. So we're going to go through this gold bead to finish that petal and advance through the next 2 beads. And as you can guess, you're going to repeat that step on these last 2 petals. So here you're going to do 5 purple iris and a purple 11-0 on the first half of the petal, then 5 purple iris for the other half, and then you're going to do 3 purple iris and an 11-0 in purple, and then 3 purple iris to complete the other half. So you can rewind the video, but basically you're doing the same 2 steps in reverse. So go ahead and continue and complete those last 2 petals, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, so we're coming near the end. Isn't this a fun pair of earrings to make? Just beautiful, and you can really get into changing the colors on this, and I'll tell you some of my ideas here at the end. So let's go ahead and finish this up. We just added our last petal. Your thread's coming out of this gold bead. As you can guess, you're just going to sew your thread around, do some half-hitch knots. Recommendation is, I'm going to say, come back up through the stem like this, and you can do it any way you want to. I'm just going to give you my suggestion. Come back up through the stem so we can stiffen that up a little more, like that. And I'm just going to come all the way up. If you have the thread, might as well use it, right? So that just will reinforce this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come all the way around the inside of the circle. So I'll just come through the starting of this bead here at the end. And going around like this and doing the interweave all the way around this oval. I'm not even going to bother doing half hitch knots. So go ahead and just do that. Follow the path, just reinforce all the way up, and when you get to the end, just cut your thread. Really, that's all you need to do. And then we'll go on to our last step, and I'll share some of my ideas with you. All right, let's wrap this up. So this has been reinforced, and you'll notice a significant difference in the rigidity of it. I think if you have the thread to go ahead and reinforce it like that, go ahead and do it, and it'll be a little bit more firm. So we're just going to add our earring wire here, and I already have my other earring done. Grab that one, and we're going to just open up this earring hook and place this on. Now, depending on how your flower is situated, it may seem recessed on one side and not recessed on the other. So you want to kind of orient them the same way. So I've got this one with the flower kind of on the outside here, so we'll just pop this on and just close your earring hook. So the only tools you need for this project is a pair of scissors and a pair of pliers to fasten your ear wires. So aren't those cute? I think those are so pretty, and they look even prettier with the naked eye. It's kind of hard to really show the colors with the camera and all. See if you can get that to focus a little better. There we go. Very pretty. It's about a 2-inch length in earrings. And I did this other pair in black that I showed you earlier with the green iris here, really pretty. And just imagine the possibilities are endless on what you can do with this. A lot of fun. I had a great time making these. So just imagine if you didn't want to do the 8-ohs in the same color, you could make pops of white or gold for the 8-ohs to really make them stand out. Or if you wanted to use different embellishment down the middle, maybe you wanted to do something with white or different flowers for that matter. Your flowers could be multitudes of color. Imagine doing multiple color petals and stuff. So I'll be making quite a few more of these just with different color palettes. I want to try and see what they look like. You could even make the stem green if you wanted to. Just use your imagination. So many different ways that you could do this, choosing your colors. So much fun. I had a great time making these. So this concludes today's tutorial. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and thank you for joining me today. There will be links in the description box with all the products used in today's tutorial. And also, you'll see a link to my website. I sell my own jewelry, and you'll even see these listed for sale. That's if they haven't sold out yet. Also, check it out because I do have periodic sales throughout the year with some really fantastic deals. If you're not a subscriber, I hope that you do subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified when I upload new videos. And please give this video a thumbs up. It'll really help my analytics. And I want to thank all of you who have subscribed and shared my link, and you keep coming back and watching my videos. I really appreciate your loyalty and coming back to watch. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. Happy beading, and I'll see you next time.